On the evening of June 19th, 2020, in the wake of the George Floyd protests, a statue of the highly revered Freemason Albert Pike was toppled, among others, by these protesters because of his racist past.
The Trump administration is working to reinstall a Confederate statue that was toppled during the 2020 Black Lives Matter protests. The National Park Service made the announcement Monday. The bronze statue depicts Albert Pike, a Confederate general and leader of the Freemasons who fought to protect slavery during the Civil War. The Park Service expects the reinstallation to be complete in October.
Albert Pike himself, who wrote the book Morals and Dogma. For context, let's first read from Pike about how Freemasons in the lower levels are intentionally misled. The blue degrees are but the outer core or portico of the temple. Part of the symbols are displayed there to the initiate, but he is intentionally misled by false interpretations. It is not intended that he shall understand them, but it is intended that he shall imagine he understands them. Their true explanation is reserved for the adepts, the princes of masonry. So lower level masons are intentionally misled, and it is only the higher initiates who receive the truth of Freemasonry. It goes on to reveal the principal philosophy of Freemasonry. Masonry is a search after the light, and that search, as you see, leads us directly back to the Kabbalah. So he clearly states that Masonry is a search after the light. Sounds good, right? They teach that it's all about turning your inner coal into a diamond and bringing out your inner light. But who is that light? The book goes on to explain that that light is God, and that's what the lower initiates are taught. But it's not until you get to the highest level that you actually get to understand who that God really is. And here it is in Morals and Dogma, the book written by Albert Pike, the man who Donald Trump wants his statue resurrected, where he says, Lucifer the light bearer. Strange and mysterious name to give to the spirit of darkness. Lucifer, the son of the morning. Is it he who bears the light, and with its splendors intolerable blinds feeble, sensual, or selfish souls? Doubt it not. And remember, this is not me saying this. This is coming directly from the horse's mouth, Albert Pike. The Confederate general who Trump wants his statue resurrected is telling his fellow Freemasons that Masonry is a search after the light, and the light bearer is Lucifer. Of course, I covered this 5 years ago when it originally happened, so I'll cut now to that video for further context. And I'll follow that up with my video from inside the Grand Lodge, which I filmed in Washington, D.C. over 12 years ago now. This is video of Confederate General Albert Pike's statue being torn down in Washington, D.C. President Donald Trump personally requested that a statue of a Confederate general be put back up less than a week after cheering protesters toppled it and set it on fire in Washington, D.C. And here it is from Morals and Dogma, the Bible of Freemasonry, written by Albert Pike, the man depicted in that statue who Trump wants resurrected, says right here on page 321, Lucifer, the light bearer. You see, because they believe that God is the bad guy, and Lucifer is the good guy. You know, that the God of the Bible didn't want mankind to have the knowledge of good and evil. And, you know, it was the serpent who liberated mankind and freed them from the oppressive nature of God by explaining to them that they can be like him, be like God by taking a bite of the apple. This is what they believe, guys. And this is the man that Donald Trump wants resurrected. You got to ask yourself, why? Why would a man like Donald Trump want to resurrect a statue of a man who thinks that Lucifer is the light bearer and Freemasonry should be moving towards that particular light? In fact, the statue of Pike is not that far from the Grand Lodge of Freemasonry, the 33rd degree Scottish Rite Grand Lodge of Freemasonry, which is located in Washington, D.C., I believe just 13 blocks from the White House, and not far from the statue of Pike, is there. In fact, I went there and did a huge expose of this. Here we can see in this video titled, Enter the House of the Temple, and in it, I was granted access to this Masonic Lodge. The bust of Albert Pike is in there, and not only the bust of Pike, but the body of Albert Pike is actually buried here. Underneath this particular building, the body of Pike is there to this day. So again, obviously these guys are highly, highly revering Albert Pike.
You all are looking to take a tour?
Yeah.
Yes, please. Okay. Are any of you Masons?
No.
Tour takes about an hour and it's $8 a person.
So here we are in the Grand Lodge of Scottish Rite of Freemasonry here in Washington, D.C.
This is Albert Pike. He was our Grand Commander from 1859 till 1891 when he died in office. The reason why he's so significant is because he rewrote the rituals of Masonry and he rewrote the code book, Morals and Dogma. We have his body downstairs.
Was there another kind of Grand Commander before Albert Pike?
Yeah, there were several Grand Commanders before him, but he's the most prominent. He died at 82 years old, and so we asked every Grand Commander to step down when they're 81. There are 33 chairs in this room. There are 33 degrees in Scottish Rite Masonry. All the wood in this room is from Russia. It's Russian walnut. The altar in the middle of the room is black marble quarried from Lake Champlain in New York. And the Hebrew writing in the middle says, God said, let there be light, and there was light. I don't know why that is missing, actually.
I asked him why there were only 3 lights at the altar, and he said he wasn't too sure why.
When was this built? The building?
1911, it was started and it was finished in 1915. The snakes represent chaos, and the further up you go in the windows, the more light they let in, symbolizing enlightenment. So it's supposed to mean when you join Masonry, you join at a time of chaos in your life, and the further up you go in degrees, the more enlightened you become.
He showed us windows in there that get brighter and brighter as you go up, and I found that very interesting. The windows were also surrounded by serpents. I asked him, what is the symbolism of the serpent? He said that's all about order out of chaos. The serpents represent chaos. And that is the motto of Freemasonry, really, is order out of chaos. This is precisely how they can gain their control.
The pillars are 30 tons of Windsor granite, quarried from Indiana, and the velvet is 400 pounds of Italian velvet. This chair, donate $1 million or more, you get your name on a plaque here, and you get a picture downstairs. The Bush family and the Studebaker family are up there, although neither George Bush Sr. nor Jr. was a Mason. The light well in the back there was put in 1993. There are 33 beams of light, and Fiat Lux is Latin for let there be light, and Ordo ab chao is order from chaos. 14 U.S. presidents were Masons, but the last one was Ford. Bill Clinton was a De Malay, which is a junior Mason.
This building is based off of a Roman
It's the Mausoleum of Halicarnassus. It's one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world.
Okay.
It's the tomb of the emperor, the king Halicarnassus. So Mr. Pike is buried 6 feet behind here, and Mr. Cowles is buried 6 feet behind there. Mr. Pike was moved here in 1944. We were fighting World War II at the time, so there was no mayor of Washington, D.C. So we had to ask the U.S. Congress if we could move his body across state lines. So it took an act of Congress to bring Mr. Pike here. Mr. Cowles lived in this building. He was our Grand Commander in the first half of the century. He lived in this building, he died in this building, and he wanted to be buried here. I've been told that these 2 men roam the halls as ghosts. I've not seen that, but if you do see them, let me know.
Albert Pike is a main component of this building. We were shown statues of Pike. We were shown where his body is entombed inside of here. And Albert Pike is also the one who wrote Morals and Dogma. And he very openly talks about who the true God of Freemasonry is. And in Morals and Dogma, he mentions that when you look to the light, as they told us over and over again, Masonry is about finding the light. And Albert Pike, which he clearly is highly revered, tells us in his book, Morals and Dogma, that the light bearer is Lucifer.
So this room houses our Albert Pike collection. Not only was Albert Pike our Grand Commander from 1859 until 1891 when he died in office, he was also a well-known teacher, lawyer, explorer, and Confederate general. He fought for the South during the Civil War. He was born in Massachusetts, but he did not fight for the North. All the books you see in this room are from his personal library, and he wrote about half of them. This painting is of George Washington laying the cornerstone to our Capitol. This is significant because he's wearing his full Masonic ritual regalia. He's got his square and compass, he's got his apron, he's got his gavel. People have told me that that cornerstone has some Masonic writing on it. Whether that's some lost legend or a mystery on it, I don't know, but we cannot find it. This painting is of George Washington taking the oath of office as our first president. This is in New York because New York was the capital at the time. And the reason why this painting is so significant is because the man in blue holding the Bible is a Mason, and he's holding a Masonic Bible. That is the Bible that has been used by basically every president since George Washington. Although Barack Obama did not use that Bible, he used Abraham Lincoln's personal Bible. That Bible has still been used by basically every president.
What's the difference between a Masonic Bible versus...
Masonic Bible has Masonic inscriptions in it. It's still a King James Bible. It just has Masonic inscriptions, and they use it for rituals. Other famous Masons include Gene Autry, Audie Murphy, Douglas MacArthur, Brad Paisley, Arnold Palmer, J. Edgar Hoover. There have been many famous people that have been Masons. We call this room our Americanism Museum. It's dedicated to famous Americans who have been Masons. Some highlights include a portrait of George Washington that you see there. We have the 33rd copy. We also have a replica flag of the Masonic flag that was put on the moon.
The Masonic flag was put on the moon?
Yep, Buzz Aldrin was a Mason. He put a Masonic flag on the moon.
So he left one just like it?
Yeah, a larger version of it. They brought 14 flags to the moon and only took a couple back.
I've only ever seen pictures of the American flag.
Stuff you don't know.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know what else to say. I'm rather blown away, and it was quite the experience. I could almost feel the creepy evil energy coming off of this place just from being inside.